We are back and we are on Principle 7, and Principle 7 takes us to Chapter 11. And Chapter 11, before we dive in, I have some more good news. And you probably already know it before even watching this unit, but we are covering Chapter 11 and Chapter 12 because it deals with the same principle in Principle number 7. Chapter 11 is acting in a certain way, and Chapter 12 is effective action. So you can guess what Principle 7 is. So right now, on top of Chapter 11 and Chapter 12, I want you to write Principle number 7 is action. We're going to start off on Chapter 11, and Chapter 11 is acting in a certain way. Wallace starts off right in the first paragraph, and he says this: thought is the impelling force which causes the creative power to act. Thinking in a certain way will bring you riches to you. But, and he says, but, you must not rely upon thought alone, paying no attention to personal action. He continues, that is the rock upon which many otherwise scientific, metaphysical thinkers meet shipwreck. Listen, this is the rock upon which many otherwise scientific, metaphysical thinkers might shipwreck or meet shipwreck. The failure to connect thought with personal action. So here in Principle number 7, what he's saying is thought is equal to action. Or, not so much equal to, but thought leads to action. It's not just thought over here. It's not just I'm thinking. At some point, you have to take action. And this is what Wattles is saying. With thought, where most people meet shipwreck, they're thinking. They're thinking metaphysical, philosophy. They're talking philosophy, and they can philosophize about everything. But the way they meet shipwreck is they're not taking action. Wallace says, a person must act as well as think. A person must act as well as think. Under the impelling force of the supreme power, people's affairs will be so ordered that someone will lead to mine the gold for you, and another person's business transactions will be so directed that the gold will be brought towards you. You must arrange your own business affairs so that you are able to receive it when it comes to you. Listen, you must arrange your own business affairs to receive it when it comes to you. Your thought makes all things, animate and inanimate, work to bring you what you want. Wow. See, he's been talking about thought. See, thought, the power of our thoughts were the very first principle. Thought will bring you anything that you want. However, your personal activity must be such that you can rightly receive what you want when it reaches you. You are not to take it as charity or steal it. Listen, you are not to take it as charity or steal it. You must give every person more in use value than he gives you in cash value. See, now remember, in every chapter now, he's really blending and intertwining all the principles. He says, you must give the people more in use value than you take from them in cash value. It is not your part to guide or supervise the creative process. Now he's going back down to the creative process. Remember, it's the creative mind versus the competitive mind. See, this is where we falter a little bit once more. He says, it is not your part to guide or supervise the creative process. See, what he's really talking about is whatever dream you have, whatever desire, whatever passion, whatever goal that you have. You put all your energy to it, but it's not your part. He says it's not your part to guide or supervise the creative process. See, this is where people falter. They falter because they're trying to dictate, they're trying to control how the thing that they want is going to come to them. Make sense? Because it could come to you by another source that you're not really aware of, you're not even thinking of. From the creative source, from the creative mind. But he's saying you shouldn't control. So all I know is what I want, and I take effective action to get it, but I'm not controlling where it's coming from. I'll read it one more time. It is not your part to guide or supervise the creative process. And he continues, all you have to do with that is to retain your vision. Listen, all you have to do is retain your vision. Stick to your purpose and maintain your faith and gratitude. He's mixing in several principles here. He says, all you have to do when you want your passion, your goal, your dream, your desire, this is what you need to do. All you have to do, listen up, all you have to do is retain your vision, retain your dream, retain your desire, retain your goal, stick to your purpose, and maintain your faith, maintain your belief and gratitude that you're going to receive it. Your part is not to control where it's coming from. That's what he's telling you. Your part is not to guide or supervise. Let the creative process do it for you. This is another thing that we falter at. We want to control everything. We think we know everything. Our alter ego gets in the way. And we think, no, I want it from here. It's coming from this source. But it's trying to come to a source on an angle to you that you're not even aware of. You're trying to control every little thing. I read it one more time. And the reason I read it one more time is I know most people falter in this area. Most people are weak in this area. He says, it's not your part to guide or supervise the creative process. It's not your part to guide or supervise your dreams, your goals, your desires, your passions in life. This is your part. He says, all you have to do, that is to retain your vision, to retain your goals, retain your dreams, retain your desires, is stick to your purpose and maintain your faith, maintain your belief and gratitude. But you must act in a certain way that you can appropriate what is yours when it comes to you. Listen, there's a big but. Now he continues. He says, but. Then he throws in principle number 7, which is take action. He says, but you must act in a certain way so that you can appropriate what is yours when it comes to you. So that you can accept the things in your picture and put them in proper places. He continues, you can only get what is yours by giving the other person what is theirs. Listen, giving and receiving. Again, you can only get what is yours by giving the other person what is theirs. By thought, the thing that you want is brought to you. By action, you receive it. Listen to this. The two and twofold, they both come together. By thought, the thing you want is brought to you. So by thought power, the thing I want is brought to me, but by action, you receive it. They both work hand in hand. That's why it's so important that thought and action, they work hand in hand together. And let me review these few paragraphs with you one more time. It's powerful. And then we'll move on. It is not your part to guide or supervise the creative process. All you have to do with it is retain your vision, retain your dreams, retain your goals, retain your desires and your passions. That's your part. Stick to your purpose and maintain your faith, maintain your belief, and maintain your gratitude. Thinking, being grateful that you're going to receive it. Being grateful that it's already yours. You already have it. But then he says, but you must act in a certain way so that you can appropriate what is yours when it comes to you. So that you can accept the things in your picture and put them in proper places. It's action. You must act in a certain way. If you act in the present with your mind on the future, your present action will be with a divided mind. And you will not be effective. Put your whole mind in present action. Now we're digging into action. See, most of us, we're always, when you talk about higher consciousness, what people are doing, they're always thinking of, what they're doing? They're always thinking of the past, or they're always thinking of the future. They're never in present moment. To retain, when we talk about higher consciousness, really the secret to higher consciousness, being intuitive, following our intuition, is always being the present, always being a present zone. See, the main example is this. is you've always heard, leave work at work and have home life your home life. But how many times you come home, you're physically away from work, but you're mentally still at work. We do this all the time in all areas of your life. Wattles is saying, what is he saying here? He's saying, if you want to act in the present with your mind on the future, your present action will be in a divided mind. You're thinking two different ways. And you will not be effective. He's saying you will not be effective when you do this. Put your whole mind into present action. Put your whole mind presently, today, what you're doing right this moment. Your whole mind. You're not thinking about, see, most of us have really bad habits in the area. We're doing something, our physical body is there, but we're constantly thinking about, what do I have to do after this? I could be sitting here doing this video, and my mind's kind of going, well, I have to go get my hair cut. I got to stop by the bank. I got to go to the gym still. I'm not present. I'm not in the present. I'm always thinking about what I got to do. Or you're thinking of past circumstances. You're always thinking in the past or the future. You're not present. You're not being presently involved. And I'm going over this over and over and over because I know many people have this issue, is weak at this. This is a bad habit that most of us have that we have to try to break, including myself. If you act in the present with your mind on the future or the past, your present action will be of a divided mind, and you will not be effective. Put your whole mind into present action. Be present. If you're at home, spending time with family, friends, be in that present moment. If you're at work, be at work. If you are ever to begin to make ready for the reception of what you want, you must begin now. See, now he's talking about action. He's bringing thought and action together. He says, if you ever want to begin to make ready for the reception of what you want, remember what he said. Let's read it one more time. He says, by thought, the thing that you want is brought to you. By action, you receive it. See, now he's saying, if you're ever to begin to make ready for the reception of what you want, you must begin now. It's taking action now. You see, the secret to the wealthy, some of these secrets are very, very simple. Simplicity. They're simple. They're not hard. It's just take action. See, most of the time we want all of our ducks in a row, want everything perfect. Well, when this happens, I'll do this. When I have my dream house, that's when I start having parties and having get-togethers. But see, the issue is you're not taking action. What did Wallace tell us? He says, thought, action. They work hand in hand. You have to do both at the same time. He says, you cannot act where you are not. You cannot act where you have been. You cannot act where you are going to be. You can only act where you are. It's kind of a deeper concept of you thinking in the past, you thinking in the future. He said this, you cannot act where you're not. You cannot act where you have been. You cannot act where you're going to be. You can act only where you are, only in the present. You can act upon your present environment so as to cause yourself to be transferred to a better environment. Listen to this. You can act upon your present environment you're in so as to cause yourself to be transferred to a better environment. And he says, do not spend any time daydreaming or castle building. Hold to one vision of what you want and act now. He says, hold to one vision of what you want and take action. Do it. Move forward. Because as you take action, you become better with it. But it's action. Thought, action. Both work hand to hand. See, you've heard the story. We've all heard the story. Maybe you haven't. This is the first time you've heard it. So let me tell you a little story here. Let's pretend, and I don't have to pretend this. Let's say you're driving at nighttime. It's dark. You turn your headlights. How far can you see in front of you? Realistically, very visible. You can see probably 10 feet in front of you. Clear with your headlights. You might be able to see farther, but it's dim. You can't really make out things. You might be able to make out shapes, but that's it. But realistically, you only can see 10 feet in front of you. But isn't it amazing that when we drive at dark, you can drive 10 hours at dark and you can get from point A to point B in the dark. You can drive 500 miles at nighttime. And you can still get from point A to point B, only seeing, listen to this, only seeing 10 feet in front of you. This is exactly the same way. Let's flip it. Exactly the same thing you should be doing to obtaining your dreams, your goals, your desires, your passions in life. You just have to take action. See, we do the same thing. We only can see maybe like 10 feet in front of us. See, lots of times when people want to make money, they can't see themselves making $1 million a year. But if you just take action, you see yourself 10 feet in front of you. Makes sense? You see yourself, okay, I can make 50,000. Once you do that one, you still continually take action. I see myself doing this. See, once you take action, when you move forward, you learn how to do the other stuff. But it's all about action. Hold in your vision of what you want and act now. Hold in your vision of what you want and act now. Hold the vision of yourself and the job you want while you act with faith, belief, and purpose on the job that you have. And you will certainly get the job that you want. Listen to this. This is powerful. He says, holding your vision of yourself and the job that you want while you act with faith, belief, and purpose on the job that you have. And you will certainly, he's saying, you will certainly have the job that you want. And Wallace wraps up this chapter with a review. He says, there is thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates and penetrates and fills the interspace of the universe. A thought in this substance produces a thing that is imagined by the thought. You can form things in your thought, and by impressing your thought upon formless substance can cause a thing you think about to be created. In order to do this, you must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. You must form a clear mental picture of the things you want, and you must hold this picture in your thoughts with the fixed purpose to get what you want, and an unwavering faith, belief that you will get what you want, closing your mind to all that may tend to shake your purpose, dim your vision, or quench your faith or belief. That you may receive what you want when it comes to you, you must act now upon the people and things in your present environment. Chapter 12, Effective Action. With effective action, he says, every day is either a successful day or a day of failure, and it is the successful days which get you what you want. If every day is a failure, you can never get rich. If every day is a success, you cannot help but get rich. You cannot foresee the results of even the most trivial act. You do not know the workings of all the forces that have been set moving in your behalf. Listen to this. This is the invisible. So you can't see what he's saying. You can't see your stuff manifesting to you. You can't see it. That's what he's talking about. He says, you cannot foresee the results of even the most trivial act. You do not know the workings of all the forces that have been set moving in your behalf. Much may be depending on your doing some simple act. It may be the very thing which is to open the door of opportunity to greatest possibilities. You can never know all the combinations which the supreme power is making for you in this world of things and human affairs. Your neglect or failure to do some small thing may cause a long delay in getting what you want. Listen to this. Your neglect or failure to do some small thing may cause a long delay in getting you exactly what you want. He's talking about taking action. Further, he's talking about you can't see the things. You can't see the invisible force. You can't see the stuff manifesting to you. We can't see how close we really are at obtaining our dreams, our passions, or our desires, on getting everything we want. We can't see it. See, that's why people quit. They can't see it. They don't know how close they really are. Most of the time, we're crazy close. We're right next to it. He says, do every day all that can be done that day. Do every day all that can be done that day. It is really not the number of things you do, but the efficiency of each separate action that counts. Listen, it's really not the number of things that you do every day, but it's the efficiency on each separate action that counts. You can make each act a success because the infinite is working with you, and the infinite cannot fail. Listen to this. The infinite is working for you, and the infinite cannot fail. The supreme power is at your service. To make each act effective, you only have to put your own power into it. Wow, you only have to put your own power into it. What's that? Take action. Your willpower. That's what he's talking about. Every action is either strong or weak. Listen, every action is either strong or weak. And he continues and he says, when we are strong, you're acting in a certain way, which will make you rich. And remember, in richness, he's talking about in all areas of your life. Do every day all that you can do that day, and do each act in an effective manner. He says, do every day all that can be done that day, and do each act in a effective manner. And he sums up this chapter again with a review. And I'm going to read the review because you need to hear it over and over and over. He says, let us again repeat our syllabus and be slightly changing the closing statements. Bring it to the point we have now reached. So he's changing it up a little bit. It's not the same thing I read. There is thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates and penetrates and fills the interspaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces a thing that is imagined by that thought. You can form things in your thought, and by impressing your thought upon the formless substance can cause this thing you think about to be created. In order to do this, you must pass from the competitive mind to the creative mind. You must form a clear mental picture of the things that you want. You must form a clear mental picture of the things that you want. And you must do with faith, belief, and purpose all that can be done each day, doing each separate thing in an effective manner. The simplicity of these two chapters is take action. Thought and action. They're both interchangeable. You can't have one without the other. Thought, action. I will see you in the next unit.